Okay, y'all, I seem to be having some technical difficulties, but nevertheless, I am still here. It's your host, Antisosure Love, and hey, Lovebirds. So, I am back, and pretty much I want to get into, as you can see by the title, everything that is pretty much going to happen in season 10, or at least a lot of the things that is hinted from the trailer going into season 10, okay? Now, all of the things I'm about to say are alleged. Obviously, we don't know. I'm going to watch it unfold in real time with you all as it premieres or as the episodes come out. But, for YouTube's sake, allegedly, these are the things that is hinted at from the trailer of Love and Marriage Huntsville. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to watch and react, okay? That's basically what's going to happen. Watch and react. Watch and react. You'll see. So let's go. This is another episode of Love's Diary, and I'm Antisosure Love, signing on. I didn't get into it.
Okay, so who do you think is wrong between Martell and Marcel?
They're both wrong.
We can be at the point right now where you say you're not going to do anything, just don't do anything to me. Marceau said don't do anything to him. Whoever does the next thing, they're the ones who started it.
I first heard that.
Okay, now, I don't know how easy that will be. I love how they're keeping a storyline alive. But you notice a lot of these shows, they have to have some type of drama, right? Because people feed off of negativity. People feed off of drama. If you notice a lot of the positive things that are out there, the drama and the negative gets way more attention than the positivity. So shout out to the channels that are able to keep the positivity alive and that have made it big and continue to do great things off of positivity. And mind you, I do feel like that's one of the main reasons Melody walked away from the show was because of all of the drama. And some of it is created drama for storyline purposes. Now, we're going to go back just a little bit so we can see. Okay. So, I love how, if you notice, let's go back a tad bit. A little bit more. Chris Fletcher, he looked so worn out and just like, there was a moment where he looked up like, oh my goodness. But as you see, when he conveyed his feelings about the situation to his wife, he said he felt like both of them wrong. Marceau has done things. Martell have done things in their so-called set friendship. Marceau is really willing to walk away. Martell seems scorned, right? He seems a little bit vindictive, a little bit hurt. And my main thing, as I've always maintained, I feel like he feels like everyone else cheats, but his family is the only one that basically fell apart from the cheating. And that's why you never do what someone else is doing. Just because they're cheating and it works well for their marriage, that doesn't mean it's going to work well for your marriage because and I think a lot of guys, when it comes to certain things, if they feel like they are a cheater and they want someone to just accept them cheating, they're going to find somebody who they feel like will accept them cheating. And once you've been with somebody for whatever amount of time, once you learn somebody, you know what triggers them, you kind of know what to expect from them. But then you have some people like Melody who she's kind of like an exception because it's like, okay, I've known her for so long. I know what she is and what she ain't going to do. She values family so much. She's not going to walk away, and she actually walks away. So you got to be careful because it's always that one person where you think like, I got them in a bag, I know what's going on, and they walk away. And as Melody have mentioned previously, she feels like a lot, Marceau was kind of in the middle of her and Tisha's friendship and kind of baiting Tisha because Tisha obviously is going to choose her husband, choose her family. But it was kind of like he didn't want them to be friends. And maybe on camera he wouldn't show that as much, but Melody felt like off camera he was definitely showing it a lot and definitely making a lot, influencing her a lot to not be her friend, making it seem like, oh, she's just jealous because her family's falling apart. And that way it deflects the attention off of him and all of his cheating allegations. But also, as Melody said, you don't want her to wake up and walk away from you because she see that I'm doing it. So it may give her the strength to do it too. So that's a big thing, a big clue. And I noticed coming up in this season 10, what we can expect is the drama to continue between Martell and Marceau. And yeah, I just think that Martell, he kind of like, well, because my family fell apart, don't let me make your family part apart or whatever. And Marceau is just willing to walk away from it all. Like, you know what? If he gonna do all that, and mind you, you kind of do want to guess like what type of friend is this, but at the same time, you shouldn't be doing dirt against your wife, against your partner anyway. However, you do want to assess somebody who is trying to hold something over your head. So I'm kind of siding with Chris on this one. When it comes to the Martell and Marceau feud, I'm siding with Chris. They both are at fault. But it's up to both of them to want to bury the hatchet. I feel Martell is willing to bury the hatchet, but Marceau is kind of scared of what may come out, or scared of because of the fact that he has dangled information that he knows that he has over him. And so he would rather just separate himself so that he can continue to look like the guy that is, got it together, is building his marriage, is, they've overcame all of these allegations, none of which were true, supposedly, right? And we gotta love Maurice for being the the middleman, the mediator. It seems like he's always trying to mediate between the two. He comes off as the guy always trying to keep the peace, but allegedly he does his dirt too. So yeah, watch Chris' face real quick. Watch Chris' face.
Thing to me, Marceau said, don't do anything. Just don't do anything to me. Marceau said, don't do anything to him.
I think
Whoever does the next thing, they're the ones who started it. Where you saying your point right now, where you saying you're not gonna do anything, just don't.
Did y'all see that? Watch again.
We at the point right now where you say you're not.
Chris was just like, I would rather be anywhere but. All right. Let's see what's going on with this storyline.
I first heard that Lance had a baby on the internet. Why didn't you tell me before you posted it on the internet?
Mic check 1 2.
Thank y'all.
They kept that short and really quick. I mean, the whole sit down between Destiny and Lance. Now, I'm still not all the way convinced this is even a real couple or a real thing. I feel like the whole thing is a storyline and a way to write Chris into the storyline so he can make some bread too for his family. I feel like that's really what's going on here. But nevertheless, he and Destiny somehow have this thing supposedly going on, and he has a baby on the way, or is having a baby, or have had a baby, right? And Destiny feels like, why didn't you tell me? Like, if we supposed to be dating, or at least, even if it is fake, at least give me the heads up so I'm not blindsided. So I think Destiny is starting to go through a lot of what Mel went through. Destiny admitted that at their vacation, the girls' vacation, that it wasn't until she went through what she went through with Sonny and Moses that she seen a lot of what, at least a glimpse of what Melody had to go through with her marriage falling apart. And at least her marriage coming to an end. I don't even want to just say falling apart, but just coming to an end, right? And so now Destiny is starting to feel a lot of what made Melody walk away. It's like a lot of the reality TV, the bad side of it, right? The being caught off guard because they want your natural reactions, the setting things up. She's mentioned before from the reunion that she feels like a lot of this is set up. Now, she may have not pinpoint who is the one setting things up, but she definitely mentioned that she feels like it was a setup. And so this is another prime example of being set up, because it's like he might under contract, or they might have told him like, don't mention it because it makes great storyline, whatever, and they want to catch her natural reaction and things of that nature. But you know what, I feel like when it comes to certain things, that's where the morals kick in, because you have to agree or disagree to certain things, and you have to also know your worth and your leverage, right? Because if you know your worth and leverage, this is stuff that can be negotiated. And even if you feel like it's non-negotiable, then you know what time it is. However, I feel like he really, Chris's son, Lance, he really I don't know why I said it like that, but no, Lance, I almost said Chris, but Lance, he really wants, a spot on the show. And I feel like Destiny is his best claim or call to it. I feel like Sonny and Moses wrote the whole Destiny code, but it didn't play out well for them in the end. It was just too much. Now Lance is writing the Destiny code. So Destiny, she kind of putting a lot of people on. So they need to be thankful. There's some people that need to be more thankful for her, because she definitely putting a lot of people on by keeping them a storyline. But, if they are actually dating and just did not disclose that he has a child on the way, that's crazy. That is dead wrong. Like, why are you hiding this from me? And part of me felt like, because Destiny has mentioned and made it seem like she's not that serious about him, maybe he felt like, okay, well, I'm not going to open all the way up to you. But I feel like when you're dating, at least I know when I'm dating, all right, or if I'm dating, right? To me, that I learned that is non-negotiables for me. Only because if you're not completely transparent, what are we really building? If you're not completely transparent and I don't know everything that's going on, and, I'm conveying everything that's going on with me, I expect you to do the same. But if you're going to hide things, it's like, what else are you going to hide? What else do you have to hide? Why even go into it with that type of energy? So, yeah, they definitely got some things to talk out. Now, we all already seen, they're going to get together, have a little 80s throwback, and it looks like everybody's there. I can see Latricia, Ken there. Let's see. It was a couple other faces I seen there. That kind of looked like Lance. I don't know if that's him. But that's Maurice and Kimmy. So we know they made it. And that's pretty much most of the cast except Martell and Destiny. So I don't know if they're in there, but they might be.
Got herself upset with me. Who? Miss Nails. Sometimes
Wanda definitely gonna make a comeback. She had to, get her 2 cents in. But watch this.
you two are not transparent.
You think that our husband's cheated and we don't want to talk about it?
I think this will be the main storyline of the season. It gotta be, because so many people, and look at Nell. Nell it keeps it real. People do not like it, and she honest as possible. If you notice, that has been her stance. She came in, even when she's wrong, she's not stay true to my, But at the same time, it's like, I've seen a lot of things that don't look right, and y'all just want to, sweep it under the rug, and y'all stick together. But if you ask me, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't feel like that's the case. And so, because Martell has put it out, so that they be cheating too. One thing I noticed, like, a lot of the people that came, before us, that they were married for so long, they just overlooked the cheating, overlook all just be and the abuse stuff, just because they needed a man in the house. Then they say to the, and I feel like even today, it's toxicity. You want black couples to make. I'm not saying other races don't have the same buildup when it comes to toxicity, and it's just kept under. But I do feel like at some point, when are we going to get back to love? When are we going to get back to the love? In all races and all cultures, when are we going to get back to the love? Yes, things happen, but why is it always got to resort down to cheating? I know it's so easy to cheat. It's so accessible to so many desperate people out here, men and women. And it's so easy to step out because they are willing to do anything. It's not okay. Not okay. And so my thing is just when we gonna bring it back to the love, I don't want them to be cheaters. I feel like Marceau, especially his image within Love is Marriage Huntsville, his image has improved greatly over the last few years. I do. But at the end of the day, kind of like Martell and Mel, have you just gotten better at cheating, better at hiding it? Are you just, like how can you do it better versus actually just not do it at all? Yeah, and I just definitely think Kimmy knows what's going on, but it's almost like your love for your children, right? You're going to protect them in public and discipline them in private. Y'all, I need some water. Listen, but I'm going to get that here in a second. But yeah, it's almost like, like when you deeply, unconditional love, right? And a lot of people, they treat their children like this, right? Now, everybody don't love their children. I understand that. But in this scenario, you know, say your child go out and do something wrong and then they come back and a lot of people trying to come at them. You know, I had to learn that with my own children because they don't have any empathy or care for them. So they're going to try to be as cruel as possible because of however they feel. And you have to protect your children in public. But you let them know in private, that wasn't cool. Don't do that again. And for me, it just gives them a chance to learn from their mistakes. You know, but with children, I feel like it's different. I feel like once you're an adult and you're in a relationship with someone, ain't no, you know, I do feel like you still have opportunity to learn from your mistakes, but I do feel like repeated cheating is not a mistake. That's a learned behavior and that's an active choice. That's not, you know, a oops moment. That's a conscious choice. And you have to put a lot of effort into it. Not only to do it, but then to cover it up and then to do it again. So that's not something, you know, I heard this guy once mention that him and his girl was going through things and he mentioned it wasn't cheating. How he felt cheating isn't going through things. Cheating is abuse. And it is. I feel like cheating is a form of psychological abuse and mental abuse. But, you know, especially the deceiving and the lying and the effort, everything you have to put into cheating. That's not just, oh, we're going through things, so I just decided to step out. Everybody goes through things. But you don't just step out on your children or step out on your parents or step out. You know, when you really love somebody and you stand by somebody, whoever that person may be in your life, your best friend, your parents, your kids, your cousins, whoever, say you thick as thin, right? You just don't step out on them just because they made a mistake. No, normally you cut people off because it's violating everything you stand for and violating everywhere you want to move. I've had to cut people off and learn to love them from a distance. And so I feel like marriage isn't as easy to just walk away from as, you know, say you're just dating. But at the same time, if the marriage is really built on a lie, what are you really building? Just a house full of lies, right?
Talk about it.
And now she kind of rocking a hard place because it's like, I want to keep it real, but y'all don't want me to say anything about it.
The divorce, right? I called the courthouse. They said we waiting for a court date because obviously you put on there said we had no minor children.
Bro, that's a lie. Bro, we can go prove it. It's right here, bro.
Bro, yeah, I'm gonna
Okay, before this go any further, I just want to say, honestly, this is my unpopular opinion. Ken and Trish is not my favorite. They're not. I mean, they seem cool and all, but Ken kind of run me the wrong way. He seemed like he wants to be a savior, but he got a lot of issues. And Trisha, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like she lied too much. But obviously it works for them, right? But obviously it works for them. But when it comes to this guy, Marquez, I'm not even going to lie. I feel like he just played too many damn games. He played too many games. And he gives them a reason to unleash all of their frustrations out on him. I feel like he falls short of whatever it is he falls short of. And he has to admit and accept that on his, you know, as a man. But I definitely don't agree with the way Ken and Latricia rubs it in his face. You know, you're never going to, two wrongs never make a right. It just doesn't. Two wrongs never make a right. And so with that being said, it's like, even at the reunion, they was just kind of rubbing in his face like, I make more money and da 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 da. I feel like you strongly should not have to kick somebody while they're down. You should not have to kick someone while they're down. And then on top of that, but if you are trying to find a resolution, you should contribute to the resolution, not the problem. And that's what I see between this little dynamic. They keep kicking him while he down or keep pulling up all the things he's done wrong, but they're not trying to actually make a safe haven for him to do right. And he just, obviously he keeps playing games with them. And I feel like, you know what, in this situation, I feel like they're enabling him. They enable his his bad behavior and then lash out on him because of it. But it's like, you're not really making an environment for him to change or for him to be better if that's really what y'all want for the kids. If y'all, it's almost like Ken wants to replace Marquez, but he doesn't really want Marquez to grow up and be a great man and great father to the kids that he claims to care so much about. And Latricia, I don't know why she plays this part that she does, but I feel like she has a lot of hurt and resentment towards Marquez. But I don't feel like you should be, even if my man knew all of the horrible things that I have been through with somebody, I wouldn't want them to put more fuel on the fire. I would want them to be the reasonable, sound person in all of the chaos. I would want them to, and I feel like he could also be enabling her as well. Ken could also be enabling Latricia as well. But I feel like I would want them to kind of be the reason of what is it? The reason of sound or the reason of voice, like the reasonable person. The person on the outside looking in. I would want them to be like, listen, he may be an effed up person, but there's things you can do to put boundaries up, but don't kick him while he's down. Don't do that. I just don't believe in that. And I feel like when you do that, you're not coming from a place of good. You're coming from a place of ill intent.
Get out! Man, bro, I'm telling you, it's gonna be bad. Get out!
Love and Marriage Huntsville.
And then for all of this to transpire, like he's just going to whoop his tail and he's just so fed up. But from everything I've heard, he's the one throwing insults at him. So it's like, how you continue to throw insults at this man, but then you expect him to have respect for you. I don't care how much money you put on the table. You're not going to belittle me and treat me like crap and then expect me to be a great stand-up A1 person and treat you with respect. And I can see where Marquez kind of is like, I just don't have respect for you and I don't really care for you because, yeah, you may have stepped in and you provide financially, which I would want someone to do for my children, but you're disrespectful and, your character is jacked up. It don't matter what she told him. I feel like he should be the one to kind of the mediate, right? Like, you know what? I understand what, I feel like when her and him get into it, unless he calls her out her name or does anything like that, he should be like, listen, I know y'all got kids and y'all had a relationship, whatever, but I'm just trying to make things easier for y'all. Because I feel like when it's the other way around, that's what the woman would do or should do as well. She shouldn't be the one egging it on and doing all that stuff. No. I feel like it's wrong, whether it's a wife, baby mom, whatever, for them to egg on issues between the person you have children with.
What's she good?
Out there.
And Suki.
Y'all know, listen, I am always on duty, whether it's working one way or working another. I am always on duty. But yeah, that was one of my little ones. And he is a cowboy right now. So with that being said, it's interesting to see what will unfold in season 10 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Yes, and those are just my thoughts. Unpopular opinions. But I feel like Tisha, Kimmy, and Nell, they're going to be the main storyline. I definitely feel like this right here will be like the second main storyline. And then I feel like Destiny and Lance will be the third storyline, and lastly will fall the fellas, or it may be the other way around. I feel like they're kind of tied, but that's just my opinion. I feel like the main storyline will be the men's infidelities, and then of course the second one will be this whole debacle between Latricia, Ken, and Marquez. But those are just my thoughts. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, and I am out. So this is another episode of Love's Diary, and this is Antisosure Love, signing off.